Hey everybody, and welcome back to another video. Today I have a tag video, and I actually wasn't even tagged in it, but I saw that Jake Bishop did this tag and I like to watch his videos. So after I watched this one, I thought that one looks pretty fun, and even though he didn't tag me in it, I am gonna go ahead and do it because I want to. So what this is it's called the no disclaimer book tag. And I had a hard time tracing this tag back to its originator. So I am sorry if anyone knows who made this list of questions up. Please let me know so I can give them credit in the description below. But in the meantime, I will link Jake's video because that was the first one I saw of it. But like I said, I like to give credit where credit is due. So if anyone knows who came up with this list of prompts, please let me know so I can give them recognition and watch their video as well. So like I said, this is a no disclaimer list of questions. And so based on that title, I think I'm supposed to just read you the question and then straight up tell you my answer. But that's not going to happen because I simply can't. I am not a no disclaimers kind of person. I always feel the need to explain why I feel a certain way because I never want to be misunderstood, and I really don't want anyone, like, I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings or make anybody feel like I hate something because it's on this list. So like, this is a no disclaimers book tag, but I'm going to break every rule because I have disclaimers for literally every question. So let's just jump straight into it. The first question is, which trope annoys you? And I actually happen to be somebody that I kind of love tropes, like the chosen one trope, reluctant hero, mysterious wise mentor. Of course, the quest is a favorite of mine. Powerful artifact. Like, these are all fantasy tropes that frankly I love if they're done well. But that goes with anything. Like, if it's done well, I mean, I'm probably gonna like it. If it's not done well, then no one would like it, right? But as far as tropes go, I feel like that's what makes fantasy feel special, and what makes fantasy feel familiar and whimsical are those tropes that we can kind of count on. But what makes a fantasy book really good is when they take a trope and we can see it coming, but then they put their own spin on it and it makes it feel unique. So I do like tropes, but there are a few that it seems like they're never really done right. And when they are like really prevalent in a story, it just makes me roll my eyes and I can't stand it. And that would be insta-love. So, you know, boy meets girl, girl meets girl, whatever you want to call it. And just like instantly they are in love. Like, they are soulmates, they're going to get married, they're going to, you know, potentially blow the whole mission or the quest or whatever, and like their love comes before everything else, and you're like, why? Like, you don't even know her, you just met her. And, or, you know, the trope where, you know, everyone loves the main character, you know, whether it's a girl or a guy. It's happened both ways, but literally everyone just fawns over them, and you're like, why? They haven't done anything. So insta love is one that I just can't with that. And the other one is the lucky novice. So someone who has never been a sword fighter, or, you know, has no military experience, or has never really ridden a horse or whatever. And just because they're the protagonist, because they are the chosen one or whatever it may be, they just happen to be perfectly good at everything the first time they try it. And I don't mind if it's done in like a time-lapse progression and it shows like a montage scene of them training and learning. I don't care if they're like, you know, unnaturally good at something, but I want to see it being earned. Even just a little bit helps. But this whole like, oh, you pick up a sword for the first time and all of a sudden you best, you know, the superior sword fighter in the land. Like, I don't know. I don't like that. So those are the tropes that annoy me. The next question is, which author do you feel is overrated? So I feel like this is going to be controversial, but I want to say first of all that I don't like to call anything overrated because it's totally about personal preference. So just because I find this author to be becoming personally overrated for me, based on where I rated this author maybe a year ago, especially like 2 years ago. To me at this point, I overrated this author. I overhyped this author. But if you think this author is the end all be all and it's the best thing, your favorite, and you think it's perfect, then I'm not taking anything away from your opinion. But personally, I am now kind of considering my initial love for Brandon Sanderson to be a little overrated. When I first started reading Sanderson, which was about, and not quite, probably about 1.5 years ago at this point, I honestly thought, like, why would I ever read anything else? Like, these are the best books I've ever read. Like, his stories are blowing my mind. His magic system is so cool. His characters are so, you know, distinct. And I just really thought, like, I think I'll just read these books over and over again for the rest of my life. And Brandon Sanderson is the best ever. And since then, I have read so many more books. I've explored different genres, different styles of writing, different styles of presenting a magic system. And I just have a much more well-rounded taste at this point. And for me, based on how I had him ranked and how I hyped him up personally, now I look back and I'm like, girl, you way overhyped him. He was way overrated, like to you even back then. So again, I'm not saying he's overrated in general. Like if you love him and think he's the best author on the face of the planet, then you're right, like for you, because it's all about opinions. But for me, myself, as I look back now, having all these other books under my belt and other authors that I've discovered and I love, I can now say that I think Brandon Sanderson is, I have overrated him in the past. I've probably read 10 or 11 of his books. And at this point, I like more than I dislike, but I do have a handful that I just really didn't care for. And so at this point, I am definitely interested in continuing reading his unfinished series, and I will continue to recommend some of his books, especially Mistborn Era 1, because I love it. But there were a couple major misses for me in there too. So at this point, for myself, I think I overrated Brandon Sanderson. The next question is least favorite book you've read since starting BookTube. So I posted my first BookTube video on January 5th, it looks like. So that gives me a great starting point of all of 2021, basically. And I had a hard time picking because honestly, I have read a ton of really good books this year, and I haven't read many, like what I would call just total duds. But I am going to say that I've read 2 Murderbot books. I've read All Systems Red and then whatever the next one is. And I didn't really care for them. I didn't hate it, but I don't see myself continuing to read any more of them. I wouldn't recommend them to people. And they have this reputation of just being like these incredible books with the most lovable characters. And they're supposed to be hilarious and just like mind-blowingly inventive. And I didn't get any of that, and I just didn't really care for them. And so All Systems Red is probably my least favorite book that I read, or maybe number 2. I wish I could remember the name of it, but I don't know. Like, I just didn't really like them that much. But I will, for the record, say that Memories of Ice is probably going to be on this list as well. I mean, I've struggled with enjoying every Malazan book up to this point, but Memories of Ice was the hardest for me to read, and it has my least amount of enjoyment, like upon reflection. So yeah, I think for the record, I will say the Murderbot books, but if I'm being honest with myself, the Malazan books, I haven't really cared for them a lot yet. Okay, the next question is, what is a terrible ending that ruined an otherwise enjoyable book? So I feel like I'm kind of negative on this series a lot, and I don't like being a negative person, and I definitely don't like shitting on stuff that people enjoy. But I will say, like, I have a book that fits this question perfectly. So a terrible ending that kind of soured a book that you otherwise enjoyed. And for that question, I am going to pick Knight's Shadow, and it is book 2 of the Greatcoat series by Sebastian de Castell. And I liked the first book. I had some issues with it. It wasn't perfect, but I liked it. I really liked the characters. he writes amazing dialogue. He writes really, really good fight scenes and action. And I liked the concept of the Greatcoats in general. And so I was definitely excited to keep going after book 1. And then book 2 was overall very enjoyable. But to me, the ending was so frustrating that it kind of just left me feeling like, well, everything good that happened up to this point is kind of negated by what I thought was a pretty weak and frustrating ending. And then as the story goes, book 3 was a total miss for me. And then book 4, while being much better than book 3, I was just kind of soured on the whole experience at that point because of so many frustrations I had with choices he made. Again, this question is not about why I didn't like Greatcoats, but this book, Night Shadow, fits the question perfectly because I really did like the book. I had almost no issues with it at all. I enjoyed myself quite a bit up until the ending. Okay, so the next question is, which fictional character do you wish was not killed off? And I know what you're doing here, whoever you are. This is a trap, and like that's a total spoiler, and I'm not going to say that unless I can say something that's like not a spoiler anymore. Like, what am I supposed to say? Like Boromir or something? Like I wish Boromir didn't die. Yes, Faramir. It should have been you. Anyway, I don't know. I'm not going to spoil that for anybody because I don't know who's watching this and what books I've read that you have or haven't read. So I'm not going to spoil deaths for you guys. But yeah, I'll say Boromir. Next question. What are some of your book pet peeves? So I like to think I'm a pretty easygoing person. As you can see, my book collection is extremely, what's the word we're gonna use here? Eclectic. I don't care about having all trade paperbacks or all hardcovers or, I can have older editions. They don't need to be like sleek, stylish looking, newer, EU covers. I'm fine with fun, cheesy, old fantasy covers and stuff like that. I like to think I'm pretty easygoing. But once I start a series in a certain style, I want to finish it across the board. Like, it bothers me to have a series, say it's a 4-book series, and book 3 is sticking up a little taller than the rest. And I find that to be an issue I have with, I guess, the publisher, because it's frustrating when you're buying used books, especially trying to shop for them online. And it's like almost impossible sometimes to decide or to find out with the information given if the book you order is going to be, 3/4 of an inch shorter than the one you already have. It can be from the same publisher. It's really hard to nail it down. So I wish they would have a more streamlined approach and be like, we make these mass market paperbacks, we make trade paperbacks, and we make hardcovers. And whichever one you buy, like, they're gonna match the ones you already have. So that's a pet peeve of mine. As somebody who is a bargain shopper and likes to buy used books online, it's disappointing when you think you checked every box to make sure you got the very same edition of the previous books you already own, and then it comes and it's just slightly different, or it's a lot different. So inconsistencies with printing different editions of books frustrates me. The other thing, and this is a given, literally anyone who likes books hates fake stickers. So you know the ones, like it says, soon to be a motion picture, or from the author of, or if you like X, then you're gonna love this book. But they're fake stickers that can't even be peeled off. Like, stickers are annoying, but I'm pretty good at taking off stickers. And so that's not a huge deterrent to me, because if I don't want the sticker on it, I'll just take it off. I'll use a little bit of lemon oil to get the residue off, and it's good as new. But the fake stickers, what is the point? Is it that much more cost effective to print a fake sticker on the jacket than it is to slap a sticker on? I don't know. But it is very frustrating, and it's becoming more and more common with new releases, and I hate it. So, fake stickers is a big one. But as far as bookish pet peeves I have that aren't about the physical book and more about just writing style or problems I find within stories I read, like I said, I'm pretty easygoing. I like a lot of books. I like a lot of different genres, subgenres, styles of writing. I'm pretty easy to please, I think. But one thing that I just absolutely can't stand is unnatural dialogue. So when two characters or a group of people are having a conversation and it's like literally no one talks this way. Like no people talk to each other this way. And I'm not just talking about using like, you know, medieval language or something like that. I'm just talking about, you know, you've come across it before, I'm sure. Like not everyone writes dialogue really, really well. Like that's one of my favorite strengths an author can have is excellent dialogue writing skills. But some people just do it so terribly that it's not even like, oh, this is a weakness. It's more like they want to flex how creative they can get with the way they word things. And it just becomes convoluted. And I'm like, no one talks this way. Like I want to hear natural sounding dialogue that really sounds like two people that know each other that are having a conversation, or two people who don't know each other. And that's how a normal human would explain something to somebody they've never met before. But this whole like just flexing how well you can write words, it annoys me and it doesn't ever work for me. And it's clearly a huge pet peeve because I'm getting worked up just talking about it. All right, next question. What are some books that you feel should have more recognition? So on a large scale, I would say authors like John Gwynne, Joe Abercrombie, Pierce Brown. On a large scale, I think these authors need to be household names, ridiculously famous, like literally rolling in mountains of cash. Like they're so good, you guys. I want everyone to be reading these. They need to be like top sellers in every country in the world. But in my circle, like most of the people who watch my videos and my friends in the bookish community, like they are pretty well, you know, they're familiar with these authors because, you know, we're their circle. Like we are the target audience for these authors. And so we already know Abercrombie, Gwynne, Brown, like we're there, we appreciate it, we love it, we read it, we're telling people about it. But on a large scale, those are the authors I wish would blow up and be like Stephen King level household names. But to my viewers, some books that I wish had more recognition and just more people would pick them up would be Necroscope. This is a book that I hope to be reviewing soon. It was recommended to me by a friend and I loved it. I'm going to review it and I'm going to keep going with the series. Very, very, very good. Necroscope by Brian Lumley. The Rayera Revelations, I am hoping to be finishing those up at the, you know, this summer sometime. But I've read 4 of the 6 books from Rayera Revelations and I am a huge fan already. Like I already know this is going to go down as one of my favorite series. So Michael J. Sullivan, Rayera Revelations, I cannot recommend the series enough, especially if you're someone like me who enjoys the classic fantasy tropes but wants to see them done really well and in a fresh presentation. You're going to love Rayera Revelations. And then the other one I added was Brian Lee Durfee, The Forgetting Moon, or The Forgetting Moon is book 1 of the 5 Warrior Angel series. Again, I've reviewed this already. Everyone knows that I love these books, and I do wish that they would get more eyes on them and more recognition because I think they are very good. And then the last question is thoughts on censorship and banning books. Guys, I don't have a lot of thoughts, but just know. Like anyone who knows me knows that like freedom in general is very important to me. It's something I'm very passionate about. So of course, a huge big no on censorship and banning books. Like that's crazy talk to me. So those are all the questions. That was a fun little video. Let me know if you guys want to play along in the comments, or if you are someone who makes book videos, please don't wait for me to tag you. Like, just do what I did. Grab the questions and make your own video because I would love to watch your video. So definitely let me know if you do it so I can watch your video as well and we can have a discussion. So thanks for watching. And like I said, let me know what you think in the comments and we can chat it up about these questions. Have a great day.